Hello everyone, Jesse Webb, TradersPro. Market conditions remaining bearish. In a bull market, we're seeing lots of activity right here at this support level, which is the exact location that we've been talking about for this to begin to happen. We'll see what kind of follow through we get. Let's take a look at momentum indicator. We've been seeing it move significantly off of the lows here and now working its way back this direction. This chart's a little bit harder to see that activity, but we'll talk about that. We'll zoom into that here in just a minute. And we're seeing breadth indicator still in the extreme location. This is green because when we get into this extreme location, oftentimes there's just not as much downside as there is to the upside. We're deeply oversold. It creates an opportunity for buying. So this actually is green. Once it gets back up into this level, then it's back up it moves back up into that downtrending area, and that can actually just continue that overall downtrend. So if you see these arrows when they're over to the extreme of one direction or the other, if it's all the way to the upside here, it'll be red because the reversal risk is down, and so it's bearish, so it'll be red. Right now the reversal risk is that it's too deeply oversold this direction, and so the reversal risk is bullish to the upside. Not necessarily that it can or will create a new continuation of that overall uptrend, but that's where it begins. It's got to start somewhere, right? So the early stages of that start to feel like this, and as we start to get additional confirmation, it starts to move this direction. By the time we get up to here, we've had this big move and it started, and now we get the confirmation of the trending move higher. So when we're dealing with the extremes, we're dealing with these really the edges of the move. The edges meaning these ranges on this indicator here and here, that's the edge, that's the bottom edge, that's the bearish edge versus the top edge, which is the upper end of that range. And everything in between is the trending move. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at right now currently. The sentiment indicator also is very helpful when we're looking at that to look for those edges. And we've seen that bouncing off of these lows recently and starting to move higher. Now what we're going to start to deal with is this halfway point, this 50% zone. If we rally up a little bit higher and see if we bump into that. This last move that we had the rally, we got up above that, we couldn't quite hold it, and then things just fell off the table right here. So we also have a buy-sell ratio that is extended and pretty extreme to the extended side, to the bearish side. So now we've got this curling back just a little bit here. You can see this now. We've got this bearish moving back towards each other, and it's at the location where we could certainly see some continuation as things are starting to move closer together. Let's add in the SPY. Take a look at this chart here. I'm actually going to remove that volume so we can see. And also you can see this is actually a bullish day. So on the candlesticks, when we have the trending signal that's attached to it, in this case everything is red, it's still moving down. That trend is down, but it's starting to bounce. So it's the early stages, so you can't really see that sometimes. So we flip that over and you can see now you've got that nice bullish confirmation bar with lots of support, and it's at or near that range, that 618 range, or inside of this buy zone, that 50% to 618 retracement of this connected swing high and swing low. This is the lowest point of the trend for a 6-month time frame. This is the highest point of the trend. So this is actually going to pull in. It's automatically going to snap to those locations if the setting is already set there. And if you don't want that on there, you just have to click that button right there and it's going to untoggle that. But it's nice to be able to have that so that you can see what zones you're dealing with. Now this next resistance area is going to be right about where we're at. Okay, we rallied up. We're going to run into some resistance. It looks like we're gapping lower today, so we certainly could see just a lot more volatility inside of this range currently on S&P 500 as it's starting to try and find a bottom right here. This is what the attempt of trying to find a bottom is going to look like. So you're getting a lot of buyers, may get a gap lower. We'll see if we gap lower and then start to move back up this direction, and that would also be some good confirmation if we can get back up now. If we can get back up above this 425, 430, I think that says 431. right there, and that's going to be that next level to get up above on S&P 500. We're still seeing pretty significant bearishness across the board on sectors. See if we had anything move here. Still technology, a little bit of a tick here on the uptrend of healthcare or health. Yeah, healthcare iShare, big move there. But you can see a lot of these are just oversold bounces, and they've had a pretty significant move down, rallying back up just to take away some of that oversold move. Now we'll probably get some additional volatility here. But what we want to see on that sectors tab is we want to see some additional participation here, and at a potential market low right here, we could start to see that. Indices also, the buy-sell ratios are still pretty ugly. Dow, you've still got 19 stocks in downtrends, only 9 in the hold range, and only 1 uptrending stock, which I think is United Healthcare still. Yeah, and it's moving nicely too. We're seeing healthcare stocks. It's the only Dow stock that is currently in an uptrend. Nasdaq 100, you can see the same story. So we're at extreme levels. Whether we bounce, continue to find participation, and then ultimately start to work our way higher. These are the areas that does start to happen, and we're seeing some nice rally. We'll see if those are just short-term rally, short covering, and then things roll back over to the downside. Time will tell on that. Let's look at some muscle stocks for today. First stock on the list is MOD. I'm going to change this back here. You can see it's actually had a nice confirmation move. It's got some nice bullish trend profile here. It has some solid fundamentals happening, and that also adds into this overall bullish trend profile. As long as we're in this upper range, we've connected to the high and the low, and the price pattern stays in this upper range, this upper quarter, and this is the 236 location. That you can see where it just starts to bounce. Any solidly uptrending stocks will typically stay in that upper range as it's retracing. And this is a good example of that because it's connected here. It's pulled all the way back, but it didn't get any lower than this area, and it found support and started to move back up again. When it starts to make a new high, this is going to snap over to this, and it kind of resets that level. It starts to pull it up a little bit higher. So MOD, nice looking stock, number 1 on the list today. And a couple of others here. Medical bio, we're seeing those again moving. This is the number 2 on the list, but it's got a downtrend. It's probably got a nice looking 1-year chart, which it does. You can see RPHM retracement on the 1-year chart. It had a huge move here from $2 to $10. Gave more than half of it back here, and now is starting to move back this other direction, and that may be interesting in that time frame. It's got a little work to do for it to get up back into that trending momentum zone, but certainly on its way there. NGL, a little oil stock, refinery stock, it's sitting really solidly right here at this support area. Tried to dip back down, but buyers stepped back in. NGL, interesting stock if you're still looking for oil accumulation. Oil had a big, nasty sell-off the other day. In fact, let's take a look at the commodities on that and see if that was yesterday or 2 days ago. USO, yeah, really 2 or 3 days ago, retracing all the way back to from 83 all the way back to 74. I'm happy with that. As I mentioned before, I don't want to pay for more gas in my truck. It's already $90 to fill that thing up. So oil moving lower, but still at these elevated prices. This just could be a retracement, a pullback, and seeing some stocks ultimately continuing higher there. That was NGL. The next stock on the list, I actually really like this one as well. IT tech stock, retracement, still connected to the recent swing high, but retraced back, not even to that momentum zone, and then getting some confirmation. And same story here where you've got lots of green, just big fundamental numbers here. Annual EPS growth at 360%. Quarter over quarter is 90%. Sales growth increasing as well. So very solid numbers, financial numbers, in addition to an overall uptrend for the stock. That'll do it for today's update. Everybody have a fantastic day today. If you don't have full access to the site and software, you can access it with the link below, and we look forward to having you. Have a great day today.